This is me.
Just kidding. This is me.
My name is Amanda, and welcome to my podcast where I will be talking about pop culture, music.
Film, drama, and fan videos. Hello and welcome back to my channel, Always Popular. I'm Amanda, your host, and let's dive into this week's episode. In pop culture, when someone passes away, don't you think it's crazy how some fans still remember their favorite singer or band member for the rest of their lives and remember the exact day it happened? We all have that one person that we connected with when we were younger in our childhood, and we'll always have memories of them no matter what. That special someone felt like an extension in your life and felt like your family. Personally, for me, that would be Aaron Carter. It was really hard to lose him. It's amazing how one person can affect your life even when you have never met that person in person. Just the power they have on you even when they are gone. Today, we are going to talk about another tribute to a trailblazer and celebrate the life of Selena, the Tejano Spanish singing queen. This is the power of Selena 28 years later. For those who don't know who Selena is a Mexican-American singer who rose to fame in the early 90s, who was known for singing in Spanish that had a big crossover album titled Dreamin' of You. It was her first English singing album. Unfortunately, Selena never got to see the success of her album because her life was cut short on March 31st, 1995. Back in the 90s, she was known for the band name Selena Los Dinos. Before being just Selena, it was a family band that consisted of her sister, Suzette, who played the drums, her brother, Abraham, also known as AB, who was her main songwriter, producer, and bass player, alongside with Chris Perez, who was the lead and rhythm guitarist that was also her secret boyfriend at the time, and their father, senior AB, who started and managed the band in their early career. It's amazing how almost 30 years has gone by and it still feels like her presence is still here. I know that there's many superfans of hers that probably still feel that way. So why does Selena still have so much power over her fans even if she's gone? Well, there's many reasons why. Described by her father as the heart and soul of the band, the most obvious reason is because of her passion for the music she started to like. When she would sing, you can hear the passion in her voice and was a natural at doing so. She was meant to be an entertainer whether if she knew it or not. Also, she had a lot of star power in her and that equality about her even when you looked at her. Everything about her was just natural and full of life and passion. Her voice was a one of a kind and you'll always hear that emotion in her voice that gravitated so many people. And it's a weird coincidence because at first no one in their family wanted to be in a band in the first place. However, because of her father, Selena learned to love it and started to gravitate towards music. When she was 9, she performed for the first time in a diner, while her father was managing a restaurant. By the time she was 10, she joined the band and then 2 years later went professional. The family then moved to Corpus Christi, Texas to start a music career, and that's where Selena started to get attention as a young singer. By the time of 1981, a Texas-based record label called Freddie Records signed the band. However, the band had a quick fallout with the label a few years later. Also, in the early beginnings for the band were quite hard as their father was told by promoters that they wouldn't be successful because Selena was a female in a genre where it was male dominated. The band had a hard time because Texas venues would turn them down for being too young and because Selena was their lead singer. Boy, they were wrong. They ended up releasing 7 studio albums. One album in particular was dedicated to Selena always winning awards and becoming a big awarded artist called And the Winner Is, and that was just the beginning of their success. They ended up gaining a following and many fans. Those fans were also Mexican American just like them. Another reason why Selena had power on people and her fans was because she was the voice to those who were considered minorities like themselves. Those fans who believed in them and supported them helped break through barriers and helped Selena become the trailblazer you hear about today. Sadly, it was male dominated back then. However, Selena was one to become a leader in Spanish and Tejano music. It's also quite impressive because she had to learn how to speak Spanish and wasn't fluent in it at all. However, she sounded like a natural singing in Spanish. She was the first female to have mainstream success in that style of music through American and Tejano music. Now, she's one of the most successful female Latin artists in the world. By the time of 1988, they released an album called Precious, which sold over 20,000 copies in Texas alone. Their last album was Dulce Amor, which was known for sweet love. However, the album helped her get noticed by someone from EMI Records for EMI Latin during an award show performance. Jose Behard wanted to sign Selena. This was around the time the band name was dropped and was called Selena instead for marketing purposes. Jose thought he found the next Gloria Estefan. With EMI, the label offered a potential offer to do crossover albums. By the time of 1989, Selena released her first self-titled debut album on October 17th. It peaked at number 7 on the U.S. Billboard Regional Mexican Albums chart, becoming her first recording to debut on a music chart. The album outperformed other female Tejano singers as well. Her follow-up second album, Ven Conmigo, was released in September 1990. Released 3 singles. The album did well commercially and sold over 150,000 copies. Around this time, shortly after a concert, a nurse and fan named Yolanda Saldivar asked Selena's father repeatedly many times to start a fan club for her in San Antonio. He caved in and gave her the job. Soon after, she became the president of her official fan club in 1991. Around the time of 91, she earned her first #1 single called Buenos Amigos with Alvaro Torres. Also around this time in her personal life, she secretly started to develop feelings for a guitarist, Chris Perez. He was referred to by someone to audition for the band. Her father didn't like his image and thought he would be a distraction in her career. Also, he disapproved of any relationships on tour, so they dated behind his back. Long story short, they eloped in April of 92, and her father eventually came around to accept him. However, Selena managed to stay on top and became even more successful. Her third album, Entre a Mi Mundo, that was released in May 92. The album became her breakthrough album and was #1 on the Billboard Mexican chart for 8 consecutive months and was certified 10 times platinum for over 600,000 copies sold. It became the first Tejano album by a female artist to sell over 300,000 copies. They went on a press tour through Mexico, and her performance at Nuevo Leon was attended by 70,000 people, giving her the title of the biggest Tejano act in Mexico. The most memorable track of this album is Como La Flor, which later became her signature song and dominated the Latin music charts. Another reason why she became so successful was because she was a well-loved person and for her personality. She shined through her live concerts and offstage as well. She was filled up with energy, happiness, and spirit. Her videos and performances gave me the goosebumps when she was on stage. She had a big stage presence and people went crazy over her. She was known for being a big-hearted and kind person. While being a talented performer, she also started to branch out into fashion. She had 2 boutiques, one in San Antonio and one in Corpus Christi, where she had fashion shows and designed her own clothes. While she did fashion in 94, she released her 4th album, and she exploded with more mainstream success with Amor Prohibido, with classic hits like Bibi Bibi Bum Bum and Amor Prohibido. The album became the 4th best-selling Latin album in the U.S., the best Tejano recording of the 90s, got nominated for Grammys, and remains the best-selling Tejano recording of all time. And the album broke attendance records at concerts like at the Houston Astrodome with over 60,000 people in attendance. Sadly, her record-breaking show at the Astrodome would be her last performance. She recorded her new album from December 94 to March of 95. She was in the process of doing Dreaming of You, that would be known as her successful crossover English album that was released in the summer of 95. She met Yolanda at the Days Inn in Corpus Christi, and Selena demanded financial papers for her business. With this meeting, it was the day Yolanda pulled out a gun and shot her, while Selena, still alive, ran out to the lobby to get help. She was taken to the hospital after a 15-minute surgery, and at 1:05 p.m. on March 31st was pronounced dead because of blood loss and cardiac arrest. Her funeral was one of the most attended in history of pop culture, just like John Legend, Elvis, and John F. Kennedy Over 60,000 from outside the U.S. went to her funeral. Her funeral was a cover story on the New York Times 2 days in a row, and the news was particularly difficult for the Hispanic community who loved her so much. Big names like Madonna, Julio Iglesias, and Gloria Estefan all gave their condolences to the family. In addition, the governor of Texas at the time, George W. Bush, declared April 16th her birthday as Selena Day. I knew she was a big deal back then when I was born, but obviously I didn't know that she was that big of a deal when she died. However, lastly, I don't want to be corny. However, all I can say is, Selena, we are still dreaming and thinking of you 28 years later. You deserved better in life. Anyone else, once again, thanks for listening and watching, and you'll hear me in the next episode.